can make light without making any noise.
So we're finally at a point where we've got power to the building. And I have an overhead light, and I have an outlet. And if I wanted to have it, I could have heat, get a little heater going where I'm working. I already tried grinding on the beam a little bit. I'm happy. So work from here. Next thing would be I'm going to get the single phase motor back on the air compressor. Probably attach a junction box to the beam here and run flex conduit over to that. And that'll be a 40 amp circuit for a 5-horse motor. I might end up getting a VFD. There's like you can get 10-horse Chinese VFDs for I think about 160 bucks off eBay, including shipping. And if I do that, I can leave the 3-phase motor on the compressor, and if I put a pressure switch on or a couple of pressure switches, I can do some really neat things, like when the tank would get up to pressure switch could send a signal to cut the speed of the motor by 40–50% and let things slow down, and a second pressure switch could shut it off, but it could keep the tank topped off when I'm doing a job that requires a lot of air. But I am just thrilled. Got my heat, got my light, and I got my outlet. So I'm going to call it a day. The new meter is digital, and the only indication is that I'm running is there's a couple of little blips here that will show up right next to the kilowatt hours, but I still haven't clocked my first kilowatt hour. I guess I got to run 1,000 watts for 1 hour before that guy ticks off to 1. So brand new. People were curious about the old transformer that's still sitting here in place. So 750 kVA. This is the high voltage side. I don't know what all this means, unless it's just multiple taps for different voltages. And all those cables, I guess, came out through the underside. And then the low voltage side with its massive lugs. And they came through 3 4-inch conduits underground into the building. Looks like there's a valve to drain the oil. There's a temperature gauge, liquid level. I do not know if the power company plans to remove this or to just leave it. I guess I'm fine either way. Back side of this had a fair amount of what do you call these things? Heat sinks. That's it. Boy, another senior moment. Circulation of the oil to keep it cool. And all the cables came up into these 4 conduits here. I suppose now that that's all cut flush on the other side, I could hook up maybe the boom pole of the tractor, see if I could pull these out, take the aluminum down to the recycler. That'd be a fun job. The other thing we got with this installation is a new pole. I didn't ask for a new pole, but that is definitely new.
So for some reason they felt they needed to replace the old 3 switches with new 3 switches. I do remember the project manager at Dominion saying something about, oh, we're going to put a taller pole in there, that way you won't have any issues with trucks that you wanted to bring in. I don't know, it doesn't look any taller than the original. I noticed today that the status of the work order was marked complete, so they don't plan on doing anything more, and I guess that includes leaving that old transformer in place, which after looking at the tags say that that's a 480 277 transformer, 750 kVA, 480 volt 277 transformer. The project manager told me that it was a 208Y 120 transformer. But big difference in what this sawmill was able to do running 480 volts versus running 208 volts. So I'm going to have to rethink, you know, the conduit sizes and how much power they were sending here and there around the building.
So I called my Virginia Power representative and I asked them exactly what they're going to do when they, you know, put in the 3-phase service, because nobody on Mike Holt's forum could figure out what they were doing with these extra transformers. So what you got is you got your last service pole over here on the right. They come in underground with one of the phases and all the way up into the first transformer, and then they got the other phases going up into the first dummy and the second dummy case. And of course they've got the you know, the low voltage cables, the hot, neutral, hot, coming from the single phase transformer over to the building. Now what they plan to do in the future, since all of the cables run by that first dummy transformer right there, there's going to pull that one up and replace that with a new 3-phase transformer. And then they're going to take the other 2 phases that run by it and dig those up and then bring them back into that new 3-phase transformer. And they'll put new lines, you know, low voltage lines, the 480 and the neutral, over to the building from that new one. From that point, you know, I guess I could keep the single phase service attached to the building if I wanted to, but more than likely what I'll do is I'll just you know, have them remove this guy here also, and that one will be gone. And then I'll buy a dry transformer to convert the 480 to 240 single phase and just put that in the building for my smaller loads, you know, like outlets and power tools. That way I only have one bill coming to the building from the new 3-phase transformer.
And I used my first kilowatt hour of electricity. Woohoo! First of many.